The birthday boy Vincent Keymer takes on Magnus Carlsen in the 7th round of the Tata Steel Chess India Rapid 2024. Vincent turns 20 years old today and Magnus Carlsen comes in. This is an important game because Magnus is currently on 5 points out of 6 and half a point behind him is Nodirbek Abdusattorov. The youngster comes in here to make the first inaugural move. This is a big moment for this young boy's chess career. He'll definitely remember this, making the first move on the board of Magnus Carlsen. The time control here is 25 minutes plus 10 seconds increment. We have a packed auditorium, being a Friday afternoon. The chess craze in Kolkata is just through the roof. And Magnus has to play this game carefully because Vincent is an opponent who always puts a lot of pressure on him. He almost eliminated Magnus from the World Cup that happened in 2023. And he is very, very strong. A shake of hands and off we go. What is Magnus's first move going to be? He opens with d4, knight comes out to f6 and c4 is played. e6, knight to f3. I love how Magnus actually plays his moves very slowly and carefully, as if he's just sinking into the position. And we have this semi-Slav setup, but instead of some sharp line, it seems like Vincent is going for the very solid Cambridge Springs variation, which starts with queen a5, and he plays it. Now look at how the queen is looking at the bishop here, so you have to be slightly careful. Knight takes d5, taking advantage of the pin here, and Magnus plays his rook to c1, defending the knight. Vincent takes it, pawn takes, and now the main move here after bishop a3, rook c2 is b6. c5 hasn't been played much at top level, so Vincent coming up with a new idea here, and Magnus takes 2 minutes to get grips with the position, and after that we have this position developing. Now castles is a normal move here. Bishop e4 is possible. Magnus goes for bishop e4, and you can see Vincent is so well prepared. He's just playing very quickly. Now bishop f4 seems like you're winning material as the rook is trapped, but Vincent has a very strong move. He goes bishop b7, and you can't take on b8 because after bishop e4 this is hanging as well as this, so he actually plays queen e2. And now you can take on e4, and that is okay for black. It has some sharp lines, but instead Vincent prefers bishop a6 and now trades the bishops here. Queen takes and plays rook to c8. I like how Vincent has played this opening. It seems like he's equalized comfortably here without any problems. Castles, and I believe black will also castle here. Yes, Vincent castles it out. And now, do you push your pawn to c4? Magnus does just that, and he keeps an eye on this bishop. Bishop comes back to e7, and now maybe pushing forward with d5 or c5 at the right time. He plays h4. He wants to push this h pawn forward. That is his idea. Rook d8 played here, and now rook goes to b1. So white has the space, but black pieces are so well positioned. Queen h5. Vincent swings over to the other side. He's attacking the pawn on h4, but Magnus has a rook lift in mind. He brings his rook to the 5th rank, attacks the queen. The queen has to move away, and now he plays his queen to e2. He doesn't want to trade the queens. Does Magnus here. h6 played. Now Magnus plays a4. I like how he's trying to create some play on the queen side and eventually create a c passer. Queen comes to g4, attacking the bishop here on f4. I believe g3 is a decent move. And now, what does Vincent have here? Can he push g5? Well, he plays a6. He pushes the rook away from the 5th rank. Magnus comes back. Rook b2. And now he takes this pawn. Wow. What's happening? Magnus goes a5. But the question is, after knight h4, the point was take, and g5 regains the piece. That was the point. Okay, so he goes a5, ba. And now Magnus pushes his c pawn down the board. Vincent comes back, bishop g5, offering a trade here. And Magnus pushes even further ahead. So now you can move your knight, but instead Vincent takes on f4 and asks a question, what do you want, Magnus? C takes d7, he takes on c2, rook c2, and now you want to maybe win this, but there's a check followed by queen e4, where you will lose the piece. Instead Vincent takes on g3, queen takes g3, check. Wow, he now has so many pawns. King comes to f1, and rook d7 is taken. So Vincent has 5 pawns for the knight. Okay, true, his queen side pawns are doubled. Check. Now you can play. You have to decide between g6 and queen g6. Do you want to keep the queens on the board? Well, Vincent prefers to trade it, which is not a bad idea. If Magnus takes here, he cannot take with the king because of a check, so he has to spoil his structure a bit. Magnus now brings his king. Now this is a very complex endgame. And in fact here Vincent might have the better side of equality, although he has slightly less time, but he makes the last couple of moves very quickly. Now the knight settles in on the central square. Magnus cannot win such a position is what I would say here, because black has too many pawns and white has only one pawn here. King e4, he pushes another pawn. And now Magnus comes back, rook c4, trying to win a pawn. He's going to win it, but now his rook is passive. And a good move now is h5. Let's get your queen side pawns rolling. He goes king g8, slightly passive there. Magnus is now going to maneuver his knight. Just see how Magnus has made quite a bit of progress. He goes knight d3. He wants knight c5, king e5. King comes up to f7. Knight comes here attacking the rook. The rook has to move now. Rook b6. He goes rook a8. That's passive. King e5. And now g4. Bit too late to push the pawn. Knight e6 is hanging, followed by d5, d6, d7. It's white pawns which are faster, it feels. But black pawns are also rolling down the board. He can already start pushing. If he goes g3, there is rook a3 and rook g3 to stop the pawn. So he goes h5. But now Magnus can start pushing d5. Or can he? He goes d5, g3. The black pawns are also very rapidly advancing down the board. What a thriller this is. We don't know who's going to win this. Rook a1 played by Magnus, coming back with his rook. Can Vincent push his pawn even further? He goes h4. Insane. Magnus goes with his king pawn, queen side pawn, d6. g2 played. Now h3 is the threat. So Magnus makes use of his knight. A check comes in. If king g6 here, knight h3 stops everything. So he goes king f8. The a pawn, g pawn, h pawn all coming down. Will Magnus be able to hold those pawns, or will Vincent win here? He brings rook g1 attacking this. It's a mistake here it seems, but maybe it's still winning. It's still winning here. Rook e8 check could be possible. He goes h3. He wanted to displace the knight and now start pushing the a pawn, but rook takes. And now if a3, he can go and stop the pawn with rook a2. But Magnus has some other intentions in his mind. Check. And the point is, if you go king g8, there's d7. You can't push. I will take and make a queen. So there's no time for pushing. So he has to go king e8 to stop the pawn. And maybe then hope for some kind of a miracle there. But he goes king e8 and Magnus comes in with his king. He's threatening d7, king d8, check, and winning. So this is actually very difficult. He tries to pin the pawn. And now instead of stopping the a-pawn, Magnus is going for knight h7, rook f8 mate. Wow. Or rook h2, rook h8 mate. This is insane play by Magnus Carlsen. From being 5 pawns for a piece, he's managed to capture almost all of Vincent's pawns and wins this game. What a phenomenal struggle this was. And Vincent played really well. He put Magnus in a lot of pressure from the opening and the middle game. But when it comes to the end game, Magnus is a GOAT for a reason. He's really, truly the endgame god, because he understands where each of the pieces belong and how maximum can be extracted from them.